Life is tough. No matter who you are, no matter what you're going through, there's no clear path to get to anything. No one's gonna give you anything. If you can just weather the storm and do the right things and just have that sense of belief in yourself, you know, no matter what you go through. And I know that's tough. You gotta have that sense of pride. You have to have that sense of belief that you are somebody special. And I'm gonna get through it. No matter if it's thunderstorms outside, you know, the sun's gonna come up eventually. And if you keep believing in that and you keep working hard, you know, you're gonna get to where you wanna be.
My sister was a victim of date rape, and she went on to have her life kind of fall off the rails after that event. You know, she got into drugs and substance abuse and alcoholism, domestic violence. And when I put all that together in my late 30s, I decided that we couldn't know who would be the victim of something like this, but what if we could work with young teens from that point on? Could we change them?
12-year-old boy doesn't hurt somebody sexually and act in the way that these kids have if he hasn't experienced something horrible in his life. Whether it be sexual abuse of their own, been physically abused, neglected, they've all been through some sort of trauma, and that's what's led them here. This is a generational issue. It's very common for kids who are victims of sexual abuse to turn around and abuse others, and then they're gonna abuse others, and before you know it, it just multiplies tenfold. So there's countless number of kids who now will never be victims because this one child has changed the direction of his life.
Children that are put on, for example, the sex offender registry at age 12 are on it for life. They can never get off of it. And to me, that's like the scarlet letter. And that child never has the opportunity to be able to live to their potential. And I think that's what really breaks my heart. These are children that most of society has said, just throw them away, lock them up, and don't have anything to do with them. And I always want to say to people that say that, are you gonna lock them up for life?
Yeah, 1 out of every 4 girls, 1 out of every 6 boys in their lifetime will be a victim of sexual abuse. Everybody knows somebody whose life has been impacted by sexual abuse. We feel like it's important that people understand that this is an issue that affects so many people, but there are things that can be done about it, and it's a problem that we can make an impact on.
We started with 12 kids, and what we found out was they're extremely amenable to treatment, and they want very much to not have that shame and guilt and that total self-worthlessness in their world. They want to do well if they can. 98% of our children go on to be very successful and do not get involved in the justice system again. And compare that with 50 to 80% that go back into prison within 3 years release of children who don't come through a treatment program like ours but are in prison. So only 2% of our children go back. 50 to 80% of their children go back to jail.
They have their whole lives in front of them, and we've had probably 900 kids come through the program. So for 98% of them to go on and live lives without any further sexual abuse, it's fantastic. It costs about like $150,000 a year in that neighborhood to keep a kid in prison for a year, and we can do that for $70,000 to $80,000 less.
And we're doing it for 3 times the staff. We do 26 treatment groups a week. We do social worker with kids from one child to 8 children, so it's very intensive. And that's the kind of thing they can't do in prison. It's half of what it costs in prison, and they get 3 times as much. If someone has to get hurt for them to go back into prison again, that's where we get crazy, because then we failed our mission of no more victims, because someone else was hurt again.
We spent a long time being a secret, like we did for the first half of our existence. We tried to operate here very quietly and nobody would know, because we didn't know how people were going to respond to our kids. Everything has gotten more expensive and our rates have not gone up, so we had to turn to fundraising in order to continue to provide the services and do what we're doing, which meant putting ourselves out there. People come out here and meet the guys and spend time with them, and they understand everything that we've been saying here. They see it for themselves, and they understand that these are kids that need an opportunity and can be productive people in the community.
I didn't have a clue, you know, and just hearing it really educated me on what's going on. What's going on has a direct correlation with something in your life. Just seeing what Generation does for these young men, how they impact their lives, how they change their lives, is definitely a link, because you never know what your interaction will be with them